All right, welcome back. In this part of the Williams family story, we're jumping into the fifth generation and getting to know Daniel Williams. Now, he was born right around the time of the American Revolution, so his life is this amazing bridge between his father's colonial world and the very beginning of the United States. So let's trace his story and see what the documents he left behind can tell us.
It's a great question. How does a family's legacy actually get handed down? Is it through stories, family traditions, a trade skill maybe? Well, for Daniel Williams, the answer's a little different. His story and the real proof of his legacy is actually locked away in the paper trail he left behind. And our story really kicks off right here, with this document from 1795. This is the will of Daniel's father, Daniel Sr. And what's so important is that it names his two sons, Daniel and James, as the ones inheriting his estate. So Daniel's journey as an adult doesn't begin from scratch. He's starting with a foundation that was handed to him from the generation before.
But here's where things get really interesting. You see this major professional shift. Daniel's father was all in on the leather trade. He ran a whole tanyard. But his son, Daniel Jr., he makes a complete break. He takes that inheritance and pivots hard, turning his focus away from the family business and toward the land itself. We're talking farming and timber. And you have to remember the world he was living in. Daniel wasn't building his life in a British colony. He was building it in the brand new United States. He was part of this first generation trying to figure out what it even meant to be an American, right there in Monmouth County after the war. It was a time of huge change and, really, a ton of opportunity. And here we have the proof of him putting down those new roots. This is a tax record from Shrewsbury in 1794, and it shows Daniel Williams as the owner of 30 acres of what they called improved land. This piece of property, right on the north branch of the Metedeconk River, would become the new Williams family homestead. It was going to be central to their story for decades.
And on that land, he built a family. Now, the records are a little scarce, but we believe his wife's name was Mary, though it seems she passed away before he did. Together, they had 3 children, who really formed the core of his world. A son, also named Daniel, of course, and 2 daughters, Mary and Catherine.
So after setting up his farm and raising his kids, Daniel Williams lived on that homestead for almost 40 years. His life finally came to a close in the year 1832. But here's the twist in the story. Unlike his father, who had that carefully planned will, Daniel died without one. Not a single page. This created a huge legal problem for his children and suddenly threw the whole future of the family farm into question. There's actually a legal term for this. It's called dying intestate. And what it means is that if you die without a valid will, you have zero say in how your property gets divided up. Instead, the courts have to step in, and the law just dictates who gets what. This meant Daniel's legacy was now completely in the hands of the Monmouth County Court.
And that brings us to what might be the most important document in this entire chapter. This is a public notice from August of 1832. It's Daniel's heirs officially asking the court to partition, which is just a legal way of saying divide, his 60-acre estate. This paper is a direct window into how the family had to scramble to solve this legal crisis. So, let's break down what the court decided. The estate was split into 4 equal parts. Since Daniel was the only son, he got 2 parts. That's 50% of the land. His daughter Catherine got 1 part, 25%. And because his other daughter, Mary, had already passed away, her children, who were Daniel's grandchildren, got the final 25% share. Okay, so why is this so important? For historians? For genealogists? This court document is everything. It is the legally binding, absolutely undeniable proof that connects Daniel Williams of the 5th generation to his son, Daniel, who is going to carry that family line into the 6th generation. It is the anchor for this entire story. And you can see how that legacy continued. Let's jump forward to 1850. We see this newspaper ad for the exact same property. But under his son's care, the farm didn't just survive, it thrived. It grew from 60 acres to 100 acres. It had a productive apple orchard and all this valuable timber. The foundation Daniel laid was absolutely being built upon. So it's pretty wild, right? Through the cold official language of a court petition, a family legacy was secured. The Metedeconk homestead passed on to the 6th generation. And the story of that son, the second Daniel, and the rapidly changing pre-Civil War world that he had to navigate, well, that's where we're headed next.